Okay, I haven't done a video on some of the more recent stamp sets that we've released. Not too recently, maybe it's been a few months. And these sets, these four sets right here, number 13, 14, 15, and 16, feature a lot of older designs, but they have now been grouped into sets. Some of them have been requests, but some other ones have been ones that I've wanted to put together for a long time, but just haven't gotten around to it. And with some of the new media that's available out there, like, you know, gigantic, humongous sets of gel pens like this, I figure, you know, some of the possibilities of some existing designs have just been expanded exponentially with those types of offerings being available. Now, I really like doing autumn scenes and interspersing things like deciduous green trees and with amongst the evergreens and with the deciduous trees, like these autumn trees in this series of designs that I did quite some time ago. I've reduced them down a little bit so I can feature all three of the main images onto one 6x9" plate. This is the Autumn Bank left, right, and Autumn Brook. And included in there is the leafless limbs, which I really like adding into my scenes after I've colored them to add a bit of kind of a crisp impression of some kind of image that's not going to obscure what's going on in the background, okay, amongst this type of imagery. And we have the maple pear and maple trio in this one as well, but not all of these designs in this scene right here are in the set, but you can see that little leafless limb over here in the corner, just a bit of crisp I don't know, imagery amongst kind of a, you know, a saturated background of various colors, okay? This one's the Autumn Brook right here. And I think I'm not sure if I used some of that maple trio in here, but fairly recent designs. Now, none of these stamps in any of these sets are available in the other sets, but they are all available individually, okay? So I tried not to duplicate any imagery that's already in other sets, okay? Well, these sets are really good for people who are kind of new to the series, you know, that they want to get a start with some, let's say, this snowy type of terrain. They can have kind of some nice foundational pieces for that type of scene. We have the snowy rocks right here, the snowy bank, snow-covered bridge, snowy creek, snow texture, and the winter twigs, okay? Some really fun imagery to play around with, and kind of a sparse, you know, kind of a minimalistic terrain with a lot of white snow, but it's kind of fun to play around with different color shadows on kind of an otherwise what would be thought of as a white surface, okay? Now, I've always wanted to have some set offering of some of these images in here, okay? It's the tree trunk trio and the tree trunk, a couple of very old designs, but now in a set like this, for those new to the line, leafless limbs, mossy trunks right here for kind of a little bit of a different look in terms of trunks. Great foreground imagery with all of these, okay? The tree trunk and tree trunk trio provide a nice kind of framing device for imagery. Let's see, in a scene like this one that has been reduced down in size just for an idea card purpose, we have the tree trunk used twice here, and we can see that tree trunk trio right here, okay? But it really provides a really strong foundation as far as a visual lead-in and kind of a framing device to kind of set the scene in terms of the format of it, okay? And also in this, just to utilize the amount of space that's given to me on a plate, I've also included the Tree Duo Small down here, and one of the newer leafless pine images, really great for to represent something like a little sapling or something like that. It's been dead. Or it can provide a nice background stamp. But I didn't have a lot of those kind of, skeletal types of trees, which really provide a nice kind of balance with, otherwise kind of an evergreen forest. You'll see that type of structure out when you are walking in nature, and it really provides a nice kind of a value change if you have, like, say, a bunch of green trees and you want to stamp something black and nice and crisp, interspersed within all that. It can kind of separate the different trees as far as distance goes by placing something like that in the middle of it, as opposed to just stamping another tree, of the same color and shape. It's kind of nice to have something like that going on. The leafless limb was one of my favorite designs in my first release of images back in 1993. It always provided a nice foreground, and again, it is kind of skeletal and bony, so that if you have a lot of things going on in the background and you don't want to obscure it too much, but you want to push the depth of field within the scene by having something close to you in the foreground. Something like the leafless limbs provided a nice image just for that purpose, okay? And the mossy trunks, I just wanted to go with something a little bit different. I was thinking about more in terms of like a really lush, almost kind of a rainforesty type of scene, where you can do, these trees in a green or something like that, but a really vibrant, rich, kind of a wet, moist type of environment for things like waterfalls and things like that to meander about throughout. But anyways, that is the tree set number 15, nature set number 15, and structures, okay? Some old designs. Some of them are within the first series of designs, but this right here is, what do you have, 6, 7 images, and they provide a nice kind of, variety of some different images, and especially for the beginner to those new to scenic stamping, just to have a kind of a nice, initial head start with a lot of structures to play around with and to give you a lot of different looks, okay? And with any type of structure and any type of setting, there's a lot of variety that you can bring to it with the use of different textures, different sky figures to go around them, different foreground imagery to use in there. Okay, so this is set number 16, and this one's not so much of a little, system of, related designs to go in one scene. I mean, trees you could, but they're kind of more of a variety, a pack of kind of similar themes right here, and this one's more of something that you can use as an entire system to stamp out an entire scene with. We have main imagery, could be background, and the filler images in the form of the snow texture and winter twigs, okay? Same thing going on with the autumn series. You can use that in a whole little system like that. This one's just doing it on a 4x6 or a quarter page 4.25 by 5.5 inch cardstock. These, like this one right here, they could be used on a, a quarter page scene, but you just use kind of smaller portions of it, or you can have the whole image take up most of the area from side to side within a given composition. If it's especially if it's a portrait size. If it's landscape, then you can use 2 of these together, and these 3 all work together, and they can all be blended together. They're all tilted like this, so I can fit it on the plate. The plate's the same size as this 6x9 postcard right here, but all these sets either come in something like the cling foam version, pre-trimmed, as you can see on that cling foam, or they come in just the raw sheet format that you cut out yourself and use with whatever type of temporary mounting system that you choose. Most people don't mount unmounted stamps on wood mounts these days. Some people might, but I think most people use it with acrylic blocks, stamp positioners, or even something as simple as like double stick tape. I use tack and peel on my unmounted stamps like that, and that's from Scenic, and there's a video out on that on our channel. But anyways, those are the 4 fairly recent nature sets, and kind of takes a little bit of the guesswork out of certain types of imagery for those new to either Stampscapes or Scenic stamping in general.